Joe, I got to interrupt. Breaking news from Jeremy Fowler.
What do we got?
Mitch Trubisky signing with the Steelers, per source.
You wouldn't tell me that and
I'm
be kidding.
telling you.
Here comes the train. We've been on the train. Lanny, this is unbelievable.
Lanny, make the announcement. Mitch Trubisky signs with the Steelers. We've been waiting for this.
A 2-year deal.
What would you guess? It's probably going to be 2 years, 20 million, something like that.
Sorry, Lanny. We've been talking about Mitch Trubisky.
From God's voice to the people, Lanny?
Since the season
All we need
ended.
is Mitch Trubisky has signed with the Steelers, and then we'll get the train going.
Joe, this is all on you, man.
I know. Lanny, the floor is yours.
Well, that's like trading for Luis Quinones, right?
No. No.
Oh, does that hurt? Horse?
How about that? Well, Joe, you called
How long did Ray Quinones last here? Not long.
Just a couple of months. And again, in defense of Jimmy, he was one of the guys that talked general manager into getting Quinones and then realized what a mistake it was.
And said, did I have ego like everybody else? I thought I could control him. Nobody else could. Why should I be able to?
Yep.
And he couldn't.
Yep. But that did give them a respite for Jay Bill because they sent Jay out to make room for Lewis, and then they brought him back, and Jay was ready when he came back.
Well, this is major news. We appreciate
Lanny,
the time, Lanny. It's
stay
good
well.
to see you, man.
Another criticism, sportscasters?
Yeah.
Too many cliches.
Yeah. Like Mitch Trubisky's the greatest quarterback who ever lived.
You know,
No,
signing
like
him is unbelievable.
I know.
Unbelievable.
It is
It's
unbelievable.
unbelievable.
Lanny, we got to
Look at
run.
him. Look at him
Thank
over
you, sir.
here.
We appreciate
Look
it.
at him.
Good to see you, Lanny.
That was
Shaking his
directed
head.
at him.
Can't you just say into the mic, the Steelers have signed Mitch Trubisky? Could you do that for us?
What makes you think I can pronounce his name?
Mitch Trubisky. That's it.
Trubisky?
Trubisky. Your best call on that.
The
Please.
Steelers have signed Mitch Trubisky, and there was no doubt about it.
See? There was no doubt
There you
about
go.
it. There you
Thank
go.
you,
And Lanny, always good to
See
see
ya.
you.
See you, buddy. It's the Trubisky train.
Thanks.
This is incredible.
Well,
I almost said
you know
unbelievable,
what?
but I didn't.
Kevin Colbert and Mike Tomlin ought to call him because he's the one that put the idea.
Yeah.
He's the one that put the idea out there first.
I always
Mitch
it's
Trubisky.
one that made most
He's
sense
still
to
gonna
me
take
from the
credit
beginning.
for that.
I
Joe, he's taking
I'm
credit.
just not
was
taking
the
credit.
first one in this town to suggest it, Bob. And if you
No,
can come up with a receipt
I don't have
before
receipts. I
November
say it on TV or
before
radio.
November 2nd.
Okay, whatever.
When I
We
wrote,
agreed at least that was the most logical thing to happen for the Steelers quarterback, right?
No.
I mean,
thought it was the
logical
best
based on
thing
how
that
they
could
do
happen.
business.
Yes.
Logical for them.
Well, yeah. I can't believe this, Bob. I put out on November 2nd, Mitch Trubisky, anyone in a Steelers mailbag. We had Todd Haley. We can actually bring back, I know Horse could, our Todd Haley, that part of the interview about Mitch Trubisky.
Wow.
Ron, this is phenomenal. This is phenomenal. I'm just beside myself. And we have Lanny Fratteri making the announcement. It's the Trubisky train. Needless to say, we'll be talking a little bit about this. Your thoughts, honestly, on Mitch Trubisky, assuming that the Fowler story is accurate here, right? Sometimes things get a little foul.
He's not the only one.
Okay, so it's being widely reported. Your thoughts on it? Your simple thoughts on Mitch Trubisky? 412-928-9370. It's Cook and Joe and Bob.
Choo-choo.
Woo-hoo!
Choo-choo.
It's the Trubisky train. I just took a literal victory lap in the studio here, Ron, on tape, and I can't believe this. I thought the skids were greased, so to speak, for him to go to the Giants, where it would be, Buffalo Bills of New Jersey there with his former coordinator, quarterbacks coach, backup quarterback, GM. But here we go, Mitch Trubisky. Your first your gut reaction to this is what? And if you want to call in, please do. The Steelers apparently have a new quarterback at 412-928-9370 unless Mason Rudolph beats him out, Rod.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think they signed him to be the number one guy. I'm not quite as excited about it as you are. I want to see what they do with some of the rest of the holes that they have to fill. But they did get the best free agent quarterback out there, not named or best available guy, not named Wilson or
Rogers
or
if
Watson.
he was indeed available,
or,
yeah.
or those guys. So
No trade chips required. That's the thing about it that makes it
exactly. It's
nice.
just
They
a
don't have to
money
give up
deal.
anything.
I'm not ready to say that they have the best quarterback in the division, because I'd still say they have maybe the third or fourth best quarterback
Could
in
be.
the division. But
Could
it's
be.
a step up, I think, from Mason Rudolph.
But I think also you can see how, he would like the opportunity here because it gives him a chance to be a starter, and what he's learned in his time should certainly have helped him. I think the fact that New York wanted him because of Brian Daboll tells you that he really liked what he saw from him. So this could be a number 2 overall pick, finally realizing maybe his overall potential. And by the way, what he did in Chicago was nothing to sneeze at. Pretty good numbers all the way across the board, especially when you talk about mobility, over 1,000 rushing yards in his 4 years there.
Jeff Hathorn had an interesting tweet here upon news of this signing. Best of Trubisky, and there was plenty of bad. I'm not going to deny that with Trubisky, and I'm not even here to say he's going to be the long-term answer. I'm not. I just like the idea of going with a guy who still has a high ceiling, I believe, still young enough. Again, 11 starts or 12 in college. The best of Trubisky from Hathorn won 11 of 14 starts in 2018, throwing for 3,200 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks. Had a 6-touchdown game in 2018 against Tampa. Has the last Bears win against Green Bay. And this is most interesting. His final 5 starts with the Bears in 2020. His last 5 starts there, 1,200 yards, 74% completion, 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. So, Ron, I would say this. You're taking a shot here in the dark in some ways. You're trying to catch maybe still a rising star, but if you don't, what have you really lost?
It's a 2-year deal, and might be, let's see what's guaranteed, if it is guaranteed. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. No, it's not setting you back like giving up 3 first-round picks for anybody. You just have to pay the money here, and I can't believe we haven't seen it yet. Somebody, I'm sure, will report it. But no, I think it's a very low-risk move. I just think they still have a ton of work to do.
Yeah, but they have money to do it, and I would expect that they will do some things.
Let's see what they gave him, but I mean,
right? But it can't be more
you
than
wouldn't
that.
think $10 million a year. You wouldn't think
He was making 2.5 last year to get to
Mason
10 million.
signed for 5,
right?
So.
Well, if you're just getting into your car, just tuned in here on the internet, the app, whatever, this is the news. Steelers have signed Mitch Trubisky to a 2-year deal. Actually, I didn't say it would earlier in the show. I hoped it would.
You asked.
You were losing
You say
confidence.
by the time our show is over, are they going to have a deal with him? And I thought it might be another day or two, but I just want to know which one. Let's settle this now.
Yeah.
Which one of you two is going to take credit?
I don't care about credit. I'm just saying.
Your ego
I don't.
is such that you demand
Joe,
credit.
he demands receipts. I don't have receipts. I didn't. If you look back at my,
you two guys,
if you look
is
back at my
most
Twitter,
responsible?
I've all along said that's the best option in my view for them. I didn't say they were or weren't. I said the best option for them, the way they do business, is Mitch Trubisky, and made sense on every level. So that's all I've been saying. And this other stuff is sometimes a little too fantasy related to me. It would take too much. These guys who want 3 draft picks, I just don't. They don't play that game. Right or wrong, that's the way they do it. So this made sense for me, and I like potentially what he can give them.
So do I. It's a guy who can do it, I think, a little bit on the ground or maybe a lot on the ground. The last time I saw him, I think they lost a playoff game, and I was impressed with him in the game. I didn't like his team in Chicago by the end, but it was always odd to me, like you took a chance on this kid who barely played in college with the number 2 pick. It seemed to me that at the very end of his Bears career, as Hathorn just tweeted, 74% in his final 5 games, 1,300 yards, that maybe he's finally getting it together, and that's the point you choose to move on from the guy. And then from all reports in Buffalo, I think this was a perfect reset for the guy. To watch Josh Allen, to be around Brian Daboll, and to be around a winning organization, I think potentially really helped him. And obviously, it's the
Just
Trubisky
watching
train.
Josh Allen, though, the same as being Josh Allen.
Clearly not. I don't think anybody thinks he's going to
mean,
be Josh Allen.
No, I don't either. I just it's the best move they could have made within their budget and the way they operate. But I'm still not sold. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not sold either. I don't. How could anybody possibly be sold
You know what
on
I
Mitch
mean.
Trubisky? Yeah, no, I do know what you mean, and I'm not either. I just think it was
But
the
yet they have
best bet.
videos of you dancing in the hallway.
I would rather have I would rather have this guy that still may have major untapped potential than pick a name, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You know the other
Or-
aspect of this, though.
What?
You say goodbye to Kenny Pickett now, right?
Well, that's
Any
assuming
chance
he
of-
would be there. I don't think he would.
Well, I
have been
mean, if any chance
Likely.
of getting him,
But none of us thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the
or
long range
Malik,
guy either.
Malik Willis.
Likely, although it's a 2-year deal. Why wouldn't? Here's another aspect of this that we asked right from the beginning. Landry Jones was once viewed as at least a backup. I don't think there's any way that Haskins and Rudolph stay here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Rudolph. Would you? Is Mason Rudolph still going to be here?
I think he will. It's $5 million. It's not that much.
Ron?
I think. Well, I shouldn't say one of them won't be here.
One of them won't be here.
You know, I think Mason will be, but I'm not 100%. I just don't think both of them will be.
Are they going to?
Although Colbert said they're going to bring in 2 guys, so they brought in 1. Now is the other one just a 4th arm to have at training camp? You know,
I
as
wouldn't
an
be surprised.
I mean, as a free agent, that
Yeah.
you don't draft.
I mean, they just announced whatever deal it was with Haskins. But obviously both won't be here, I wouldn't think. Bob, does Rudolph get an even chance? Do they characterize this as an open competition going into camp? Do you think they do?
No, I think they'll say that we acquired a guy who we are giving money to that we believe is going to be our starter.
Ron?
I don't think. I think they will say it's going to be competition. He's going to have to come in and win the job, but I don't think that means he's going to have to come in and win the job.
And finally,
I think he will have the job, even if they say there's competition.
I agree with that. And finally, we have confirmation what the Steelers really thought of Mason Rudolph. And I think it began with the Cincinnati game where he got pulled for duck. And that was after the Cleveland game, the infamous smashing
Garrett.
helmet on him. Because I always go back to the Mike Tomlin interview with whoever was calling that game said, Mike Tomlin told us during the week we're going to find out a lot about Mason Rudolph in this game. And he went out that game and, well, he got pulled for Duck Hodges at halftime. That's pretty much all, or in the third quarter. That's all you need to know. I think they've known for a while that he's not the next guy. Do you guys agree?
And if they really thought he was the next guy, they could have played a little hardball with Ben last year.
Absolutely.
And not brought him back.
Absolutely.
Not brought him back.
Do you agree, Bob, that
Yes.
they've known for a while that
Well,
Mason's
I
not
would
that
say- I
guy?
would
'Cause
say
you've been a defender of Rudolph, and you said you
My
wanted
only
to see him play.
my only defense of him is that he hasn't been given a legitimate shot of being a starter. That's my defense of him. Now, have I said all along that they should go out and sign Mitch Trubisky? Yeah, I've said that too. So I think I know how they feel, but I also think sometimes it takes a while to really get an answer on a guy. That's what I'll say about a lot of young players who don't get a lot of chances over the last 2 years. I'll say that about Trubisky at the end of his career in Chicago. I thought they rushed to a judgment on him based on how much they put into him while drafting him 2nd overall. I think they made a mistake, personally, because even though Justin Fields potentially could be, I don't know enough about it. What I saw last year, I saw
Not
good and
sold
bad.
on him being a star
No.
either.
So, again, they had to redraft the position. They could have stuck with him and just said, look, we see progress.
Sure.
And they didn't do it.
I don't think Mason Rudolph has that kind of potential or that kind of track record, by the way.
Are you
which
happy
Trubisky
it's-
already had. And I think after 400 passes from Mason Rudolph, I have a pretty good idea and have had for a while that he's not the next guy, that he's not going to be a
And
high-impact
that's fine.
starter.
That's your opinion. Are you glad that this is Trubisky over Garoppolo, since you brought his name
Yes,
up earlier?
absolutely.
So am I. I didn't want Garoppolo.
For the same
For a lot of money
reasons.
reasons and everything else, too.
One other division note, Larry Ogunjobi leaving the Bengals, which hurts their
will he
defense.
be-
He's going to, of all teams, Mitchell Trubisky's old team, the Bears.
Wow.
So I thought he was really a good player for the Super Bowl team Bengals, not Super Bowl winning team. But obviously the big news, what a big news day. James Conner, 3 years, $21 million, and now Mitchell Trubisky coming to the
Steelers have a new
Still have not seen a
quarterback.
number price yet.
Me
Joe.
neither. I'm gonna guess.
I'm gonna
guess 21 million.
I'm going to guess 2 years, 26 million, 13
Maybe
guaranteed.
you're closer.
Something
I
like
bet.
that.
I bet you it's 2 years. I'm gonna say
25,
Or maybe 10 million. I don't know.
25, 26,
24 million
24, something like that.
with 15 million
Yeah,
guaranteed.
something like that.
You like that, Bob?
Yeah, I think that's fine, and I think that gives them a legitimate
So,
guy
Bill-
who's had history in this league
But
over a course of 4
here's
years.
my other point, Ron. You brought it up. I don't necessarily think this would preclude them from Willis. I think Willis is viewed as a project. It
Yeah, but
might,
you might have to
but-
pay
It
up to
might.
get him, though.
maybe, but what if he falls? to-
Hypothetically, if he's at 20 and they really did like him, the question would be, would you do that? Because it is the most important position in the game, knowing that you still have a whole bunch of other things you need. And that Ryan Jensen's off the board and some of these other guards are
I
going
don't
to be off
think
the board.
signing Mitchell Trubisky to a modest 2-year deal, whatever it is, it's going to be relatively modest. compared
Commits
to,
to
what
him long
quarterbacks-
term.
Yeah, compared to Kirk Cousins signing for 35
Exactly.
million.
I don't think signing a Mitchell Trubisky for 2 years precludes you from drafting at number 20.
Would you?
If a guy falls to you.
Would
no.
you?
No.
I'd
no.
still want to.
I'm
go
using my
center.
capital
yeah.
elsewhere. Joe, I got to ask you, though, who do you think's more disappointed, Mason Rudolph or Tenney?
Tenney might be down.
Tenney's
Might be
down.
a bad day for our guy Hokie, too. He's a big Mason
Hokie,
backer.
but Hokie can adjust. He's a pro. I don't know about Tenney.
Tenney may never call again, or he could be outside marching in the parking lot right now.